Welcome back to Straight Talk About Health and Wellness. My name is Mary, and I am your host. All right. I want to thank you for coming today. I know I don't see you, but I know you're out there someplace. So I'm going to advise you to get your coffee, your favorite tea, your notebook pad, because you may want to take some notes today. Today, we have a fantastic guest with life experience. All right, life experience. She's not reading this from a theory book or from a medical book. All right, she has firsthand experience. This disease has affected 7.2 million Americans in the United States. Also, what I read, all right, according to the Alzheimer's Association, it affects people 65 years and older. But I think since this article, the information, it has affected people younger than 65 years old. So I want you to sit back, take your notes, because you'll be hearing something very important today. All right. And also, I want to remind you that Straight Talk About Health and Wellness, we don't take the place of your physician, your healthcare professional, your therapist. All right. This show is strictly to educate and motivate. All right. If you do have a question or some concerns, about what we talk about today, have that conversation with your healthcare professional. All right. All right. We're going to get started. Good morning. Good morning, Kim Charles.
Hey,
I should call you Miss
hey,
Charles.
hey,
How are
Mary.
you?
I was calling you Mary. I'm doing great. How you doing? How you doing,
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm doing
Mary?
fantastic.
Good.
I am so thrilled that you made time to come and see me this morning.
Oh, anything for you, Mary. Anything. You're just wonderful.
Oh my goodness. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I don't mind telling my age because people want to keep the age hidden. I don't know why, but I'm 67 years old.
Okay.
I've been on my job going on 9 years, and I work for a nonprofit organization. It is called BOMA, but this has
Uh-huh.
nothing to do with BOMA, what I do after work
Mm-hmm.
hours. And we work with the city of San Francisco and other different places. We do work with commercial buildings. So I've been with them, like I said, going on 9 years. And um I've been working all my life since I was 14 years old. Can you imagine? And
Wow.
I like to say um I have had work and life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't necessarily have to happen with me having a degree. Not that I didn't want one, but I had
Mm-hmm.
good jobs and I learned on the way. So
Mm-hmm.
I am really excited about what I do and how I do it. I have little projects going on because I'll be retiring soon, hopefully
Oh, woo.
probably within the next 2 years though. Can't go out
Oh,
now, but I
uh-huh.
love my job that I do full time and I love the people that I work with.
Nice.
however
Mm-hmm.
however I do have different projects that I'm working on the side, so when I finally retire I can implement them, and that's the key
Mm-hmm.
to what I'm doing. So yeah,
Fantastic. I know one of your projects.
one of my projects is working with this Alzheimer's.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also Mary Kay.
Oh yeah, Mary Kay. I work on that too. I definitely do Mary Kay. And a lot of people that I talk to, oh, Mary Kay is still around. We ain't heard about it.
Oh my goodness.
About it yet now.
How
I
can
talk
they
to
do that?
everybody. Yeah. So I work with that, do that because skincare right now is the best thing ever, and it helps it. With
Mm-hmm.
this disease that we're going to be talking about soon,
Mm-hmm.
we have products in the line that really helps. You know,
Really? Okay.
yeah, like lotions and body care and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
but this is not something that I'm promoting, online like this, but just to let you know, we do have products in there that helps people, especially the elderly with this type of disease
Mm-hmm.
too that we're going to be talking about.
Well, that's good to know. So,
Yes.
so I'll use that when I get older. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But anyway, Karen, we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Okay.
So, what inspired you to work with this population?
My mother, she got sick in, I want to say, in her early 70s with this type of disease, and
Hmm.
so seeing what I could do to help her and seeing how it worked on her and how it did, I decided to start getting involved in helping other people who may not know what goes along with something like this. That was my heart. That's just my heart throb and my passion at this point.
Hmm.
That's something I do when I'm not at work. I constantly try to figure out what I can do and how I can help someone. And I get calls here and there with people, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? So just life experiences dealing with my mom and her sister on how this worked. And I was able to maneuver and understand. And I worked with my mother's doctor. I worked with a good doctor as well as working with my aunt's doctor as well.
So you had a double fold there with Alzheimer's and dementia. You had your mom and your sister.
Yeah, my aunt. I'm sorry, my aunt. As it's
Oh,
correct.
oh,
Yeah,
your
my
aunt.
aunt. Yes,
Oh,
my aunt, her sister. Yeah, I
okay.
did. And my aunt, hers was slow starting, like my mom's. It's a very slow. And you think that it's dealing with the age, with your age, because as we age, we do forget things. I mean, I do too. Even though I get kind of nervous, I'm like, oh my God,
Hmm.
I don't want to, I don't want to catch this, but I put my keys down somewhere and forget out where I
Hmm.
put them. Or like the other day, which is really unusual for me, I I have a crossbody purse that I take with me every single day when I'm going to work. And I'm
Hmm.
on the BART train, minding my business, got my backpack, looking at my phone and listening to things
Hmm.
with
Hmm.
music and stuff. I get all the way to work, and we were going to lunch that day. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what happened to my crossbody purse? Oh my goodness. Well, come to find out, I thought I left it on the back of the door in my room.
Oh.
And
Hmm.
but that's kind of scary because I'm like, oh my goodness, did I bring it and leave it on the BART train? But those are the types of things that I'm aware of, but it doesn't mean
Hmm.
it's that disease that my mom or my aunt went through. It is just something that I forgot. So that's letting me know I need to start taking my vitamins, be more consistent with that because I can be not consistent so that I can strengthen my brain.
What's a typical day? What was a typical day for your mom when she was starting this disease?
Oh gosh. She would like if we go out to dinner and give you this example. We go out to dinner and we be sitting at the table, she would nod off to sleep.
Hmm.
She just fall off to sleep. And I would nudge her, Mom, your food is here. Oh, okay, okay. That was
Hmm.
one thing. Second thing is she was always late. I mean, she had a tendency to be a little late to different things, but she was
Hmm.
always late. Or she would call me on the phone and said, Karen, hey, don't forget about your mom over here. I'm not well. I'm not
Uh-huh.
well. So she knew something was
She
going
knew
on.
something was
Yes,
going
she
on.
did. Yes, she did. I'm not well. Now, don't forget about me. Don't forget about coming to visit me. Because at that time I lived in Fairfield. And of course, I'm from San Francisco, and that's where my mom
Hmm.
house was rather. And so
Hmm.
I was like, Mom, I just came over there. But I'm coming back over there tomorrow. Oh, okay, okay. I just don't want you to forget me. I mean, she would call me. I just
Hmm.
left her house. And then she would call me and say, don't forget about her. So that
Hmm.
was something too. But I never equated it to the disease because I knew nothing about this. I was just thinking it just kind of like, her getting older, that type of
Hmm.
thing. So that was one thing. And then another thing was she would forget that she had like my mother liked her oatmeal, the packet oatmeal. So she
Hmm.
would either make it from just make it straight from
Hmm.
the container like the old fashioned
Yeah, that's the best
or she would,
one.
that's the best
Hmm.
one, but she would get the packets too. So she would put a packet and she had her tea kettle on the stove and she would
Hmm.
pick up the tea kettle and pour of course the water in it. Well, one time when I went over there, she didn't even know I was coming, but I went over to the house and she left the tea kettle on with the water boiling in it. I said, Mom, what are you
Oh.
doing? Oh, I just she stepped out of the kitchen. I said, did you know
Hmm.
you had left the tea kettle on? Oh, I did. Because see, like I said, my mother knew something was going on, but she was trying to
Hmm.
hide it too. They do
Hmm.
that when they get up in age like that. So she was trying to
Hmm.
hide it. So with her trying to hide it, of course I cut the stove off, but then I started seeing things. And then one of her sisters was saying, Doris is kind of talking differently. And then one of her best friends, who's no longer with us, She was saying the same thing. She would call me on the phone and say, Karen, she called my mother Dot. She said, Karen, Dot is not talking a certain kind of way. And when they mean that, when they say that, if another person says that to you, that means they're repeating themselves. They're saying the
Mm.
same thing over and over and over again that they already said, but they keep repeating it because it just stays there. So
Oh,
those are
I
some of
see.
the signs. Uh-huh. So that's when, and also one more. My mother was an advocate of staying with her doctor, going to all her
Mm-hmm.
doctor's appointments, and she would
Mm-hmm.
forget her doctor's appointments. And doctors nowadays, if you keep forgetting your appointments, they will cancel you, no matter how long you've been with
Oh.
them. But I happened to be over there one day, and I
Mm-hmm.
heard the voicemail that the woman called to say, Miss White, you have forgotten your doctor's appointment again. We need you to
Mm-hmm.
come in. And so I called them back and I said, oh, how many doctor's appointments has my mother forgotten? They said, your mom has
Mm-hmm.
forgotten quite a few and we need her to come
Mm-hmm.
in. If not, then we're going to have to refer her out to someone else. And she's been with this doctor for years. So what had to
Oh.
happen was, and, these are things that I'm remembering too as I'm talking to you, Mary. I
Mm-hmm.
made the scheduled appointment with her to go see her doctor because she's had this doctor for years to
Mm-hmm.
find out what was going on. And so I
Mm-hmm.
went and I took her to the doctor.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. So you start taking her to the doctor. So how did you get them to diagnose her?
Well, she had a wonderful doctor and he started seeing things with her too because she was very consistent. And that was one of the things he knew. My mother was always coming on her appointments. And when she was missing those appointments, see, he didn't know me. When she was
Mm-hmm.
missing those appointments, he was like, something is going wrong. So he was glad that I brought her in. So what he did was I said, my mother is kind of showing, signs of not remembering things. And I started telling him what the signs
Mm-hmm.
were based on what I just said to you. And
Mm-hmm.
she was getting agitated there because she was getting agitated, which means, like, don't get in my business, Karen. Don't be telling him
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying. But I kept going because I just overlooked what my mother was getting agitated about. So what
Mm-hmm.
happened was I told him everything that my mother was doing. So then what he did was he scheduled her for a blood work.
Mm-hmm.
But then he said, okay, Doris, I want you to tell me what this story is. In other words, I'm going to read a story to you and I want you to tell me
That's
what
a
is
good doctor.
excellent, doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent doctor. I would never, I don't know if he's still around, maybe he retired, but I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you one thing. If he's not, I would refer him out because he was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
But, anyways, he read the story to her and asked her to repeat it back to her. Like he'll say, okay, the cat jumped over, the cat jumped over the fence. Okay, Doris,
Mm-hmm.
what did I say? Or a sentence or whatever. And she couldn't remember. And she would look at
Mm-hmm.
me and I couldn't say nothing. Then he said, okay, what day is it? What year is it? What is
Mm-hmm.
your birthday? She remembered her birthday, February the 11th, but the year. What's your
Mm-hmm.
address? She would say, Monticello Street, but couldn't say the address. And then he would say, okay, who's the president of the United States? She couldn't say
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. She couldn't remember that. But the main thing was her address. What's your phone number? She couldn't remember her phone number. So those were things. Then he sent her down to get a blood test. And at that time, the blood work could not really tell what was going on with her like it does now. They can definitely diagnose you with blood work. But what he did was he also sent her to get a CT scan of her brain.
Of her brain.
Uh-huh, not the MRI, the CT scan. And that picked up certain things that was geared towards the disease. Then from
Mm-hmm.
there, he sent her to the specialist. And that's where the specialist for that specific disease would go through some things with her that will say, yes, your mom has Alzheimer's, not dementia, Alzheimer's.
Wow. So what was the biggest challenge when you heard that diagnosis? Your mom had Alzheimer's. I'm not pronouncing that correctly.
Okay.
But what was your biggest challenge when you heard that? Emotionally, how was you feeling when you heard that?
Well, see, I didn't really know what it was. And
Mm-hmm.
um, it's like this week is my mother's anniversary of how long she's been passed away with this disease. So I'm going to be as candid as I can. My mother passed away on April the 30th. But anyways, I had her explain to me, the specialist, just like
Mm-hmm.
her doctor knew, what is this type of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't tell me the bad parts of it. They just told me the beginning parts of, well, it's due to plaque. They don't really know where that plaque comes from. I don't know where it
Mm-hmm.
comes from. Plaque that because we have so many different, I don't want to say compartments, but we have so many things in our brain that helps us with our mobility, our
Mm-hmm.
speaking, our eating, our eyes blinking, like my eyes are blinking. It's so many things that the brain controls. There's like, I call them sections or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
pockets. And the one thing that affected her in that I call, like I say, pockets was her memory, her memory. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking to myself, if my mother gets lost somewhere, because she drove, she did
Mm-hmm.
everything. If she drives a car or whatever, she would remember how to get back home. She would, because that's why he asked her about her address. That was a key factor
Oh
right there. That
dear. Mm-hmm.
address, yes, because my mother drove. She drove everywhere. Even had me in the car
Mm-hmm.
with her driving. So for me to hear that and how it will progress,
Mm-hmm.
my heart, of course, just sunk because I saw my mother, and they have a look. It's a certain look of like I don't know what's going on type of look. Because see, the disease is you. I don't know how long my mother had it because they hide it. They hide it. They don't want you to see because they don't want you to take away their independence. See, my mother was
Mm-hmm.
retired, so she didn't want
Mm-hmm.
anything to go wrong with her independence. So the hiding was finally going away, and then it was coming to light. And then with my mother not being in the room, so she could understand, it was going to progress. And I asked, did they have any medicine that she could take for it?
Mm-hmm.
They said at this point where she is, there was no medicine that they could give her at this point. So it was just they didn't say keep her comfortable. They just said,
Mm-hmm.
these are things that you can do to help her, stay in the place that we need her to stay because it's a slow processing disease. It's very slow moving. So emotionally for me, um, that was really bad for me. I didn't have anyone to talk to about it, not basically because I mean, when my mother got sick with it, I don't think anybody really knew what it was. They heard of it, like the
Mm-hmm.
Alzheimer's Association, they know about that. They heard of it, but they just didn't really know other people. Like for me, to give me support,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't know what to help me with or how to help me.
Did you find your own coping skills?
I did because she had, like I said, she had an excellent doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So the coping skills that I had was to make sure that I was with my mom the whole time. I made sure my mom moved in with me and my husband for a while. That helped me because then I started seeing the more she was with us, the better I had faith. I said, the more she's with us, the better she was. Looked like to me she was getting better because it was a routine. I put her on a routine dinner
Mm-hmm.
because she wasn't eating. See, they forget to eat. And nobody's there monitoring them because she lived alone because she's used to being alone after my dad passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So she had her own system. So this stuff
Mm-hmm.
just came up on her. So she would cook her food and do what she needed to do. But at this point, she couldn't do it anymore. So when I put her on a routine, I was seeing her getting better. But that alone is up and down. Because what happens
Mm-hmm.
is it starts affecting your sleep habits, which means my mother would sleep in the day and I didn't pay no attention to her because I'm like, she's elderly. She wants to rest, take a nap,
Mm-hmm.
sleep in the day, but then she'd be up all night long because they roam, which means you don't get any rest at that point because I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
people really coming in at that time. I didn't understand it. But
Mm-hmm.
the more I kept her at the doctor's office with Dr. Sullivan, I'm sorry, Dr. Murphy, the better off it was for me because he started seeing the transitions of how she was acting and what she
Mm-hmm.
was doing that we put her on medication for temperament.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're not getting enough sleep, because they roam at night and they sleep all day, when you're not getting enough sleep, it affects the brain even more so. Because this disease moves around. It moves.
Oh.
Like it gets you and you see for me, like I told you, we had her on a routine when she came and stayed with us. But once that routine kind of got stagnant, it's like it had its own mind. It moved somewhere else to keeping her up
Oh.
all night and letting
Mm-hmm.
her sleep all day. So then I had to keep her up in the day. And I worked a full-time job too. I had to keep her up in the day. My husband helped keep her up in the day in order for her to sleep at night. And as the disease progressed, she still never slept at night.
What I'm hearing, when she first started, she knew something was happening to
He did.
her.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you went and did the diagnosis and everything,
Mm-hmm.
then you moved her in with you.
Mm-hmm.
Seems that she felt safe. She was with you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you put her on a routine,
Mm-hmm.
all right? And then she was up all night,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and then from there, was she able to feed herself and go to the bathroom herself, things like that?
He was able to do that for a while, but like I said, probably for like 6 months. See,
Mm.
she was able to
Mm-hmm.
do that for 6 months because she had me mainly there with the routine. When I went to work, my husband would kind of fill in based on what I had told him to do to keep her like
Mm-hmm.
that. So he was really good with that. However, after the 6 months, kind of I had a chart. I kept charts and I kept notes.
Mm-hmm.
After the 6 months, then you saw her going into a different direction where she was having accidents on herself. We had to do different things that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she would, at a point, she would still feed herself, but then we had to start kind of feeding her too, because that's where it was moving into the dementia part.
Oh, okay. So first is the Alzheimer's, and
Mhm.
then it goes to the dementia part.
We go to the dementia part. See, what happens is I'm hearing different things. That's why you work with your primary doctor or whoever you need to work with. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but they say dementia first and it's Alzheimer's afterwards. I say Alzheimer's first and dementia first
Mm-hmm.
because dementia, I feel like the Alzheimer's is a tree and the dementia is part of the branches on the tree. And what my mother had as she progressed in her disease, she had Lewy body dementia. It wasn't Lewy body dementia before first part. Lewy body dementia came after the disease started
Mm-hmm.
progressing, but it's still part of Alzheimer's and it's very confusing. It's very confusing because you hear one thing from one doctor and you hear another thing from another doctor, but her doctor was so good at it that he would
Mm-hmm.
explain it to me. And I just kept looking like, okay, this is a tree with dementia, with Alzheimer's, I'm sorry. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
branches. And I feel like the branches of that tree, they go into different things and they're named different. They don't have a lot of names of it, but Lewy body dementia is the worst of the worst. And my mother
Mm-hmm.
transited into that because the dementia stops you basically from walking,
Mm-hmm.
basically taking, my mother used to walk and then she used to fall. She fell a lot.
Oh,
She fell a lot
oh dear.
because
Mm-hmm.
the Lewy body dementia affects your mobility. So I saw the transition.
Balance.
Yes, your balance,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. It just affects everything. It affects your eyes. It,
Mm-hmm.
it just affects everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, with being a caregiver like that, it is pretty disheartening. It's sad to see how this disease transitions to one level to another level to another level until yeah.
Let's talk about givers. Were you able to find a caregiver that you liked and did everything that she's supposed to do?
I interviewed a lot of caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
That was my specialty because I have a background of interviewing. Because before I
Mm-hmm.
on the job now, like I said, I worked a lot of jobs. I used to work for a health agency uh that sent caregivers out to different people's homes.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Okay.
was able to enter. I'd see I had that experience. I was able to key in on what I was looking for from my mom. And
Mm-hmm.
the one thing about this was my mom was sick with Alzheimer's, dementia in the pandemic.
Oh, dear.
Yes, ma'am. In the
Yeah.
pandemic.
In the
So
pandemic.
in the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. So I had to be very careful on who I let come in the house because at one point, remember, I just said my mother lives with me, but
Mm-hmm.
then to keep her balanced and keep her going, we moved her back into her own home and we moved in there.
Oh,
So
I see.
I was able, and that was the home I pretty much grew up in. So I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get her back in her surroundings, which helped a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. But because I worked the hours that I worked in the day, and my husband was there because he was retired at that time, he was
Mm-hmm.
able to fill in where I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, but we still needed somebody there to help her. So I had to interview quite a few caregivers. I got caregivers in and I let caregivers go.
Oh, dear.
They was very I was, you can't mess with my mom because that lady up in that house, she's not gonna take it.
Mm-hmm.
If I felt that, if I looked at my mother's eyes and she would look at me because she really couldn't talk that well anymore, and she
Mm-hmm.
would look over at the caregiver, then I knew something was going on.
Something going on. Mm-hmm.
Maybe the caregiver didn't feed her right. We didn't have cameras in the house. My husband was there, but he had breaks too because
Mm-hmm.
that's why I brought a caregiver in to give him some breaks. So
Mm-hmm.
basically speaking, if she didn't eat at a certain time, because remember I had her on a schedule or something,
Mm-hmm.
my mother had enough sense before the disease really took over to look at me and look at that caregiver to let me know something was going on. So I would talk to the caregiver. Or sometimes those
Mm-hmm.
caregivers get relaxed. They come
Mm-hmm.
in there good and then they get relaxed, like watching TV or, not waking, my mother up at a
Too
certain time.
comfortable.
Very, very
Mm-hmm.
comfortable.
Too comfortable.
So then I would
Mm-hmm.
have one in there, send one back, have one come back in, send one back until I found one. I found one who was phenomenal with my mom, and she was with my mom
Mm-hmm.
from all the way from here until the day my mother closed her eyes. I
Mm-hmm.
had her, and
Mm-hmm.
my mother gave her a hard time, but she stayed there with our family, and to this day I still speak with her. Her name is Alma.
Oh, okay. Nice. So you developed that relationship because,
Mm-hmm.
some caregivers, I know I've been in healthcare. Some caregivers, you really need to do your assessment,
Yes, you
coming to
do.
your house.
Yes, you do.
Yeah,
Plus
do your assessment.
that disease is hard to work with too, Mary. So I don't want to say
Mm-hmm.
all caregivers are not that they feel that
Sure,
they can
sure.
do it, but it's hard
Mm-hmm.
because they that you have to really have a specialty or what just the
Mm-hmm.
experience to go through what that disease does to somebody, what it just
Mm-hmm.
does. And I just knew what it was. I saw what it was doing to my mom, and I
Mm-hmm.
saw different things, and we had a lot of things going on in our life at that specific time and working with my mother at that specific time. So I knew that I expected a certain type of way that they supposed to come in and do certain things. And they only
Mm-hmm.
work 4 hours. You're talking about
Mm-hmm.
4 hours a day because that's all that we
Mm-hmm.
can afford to pay them. So 4 hours a day. But however the case may be, I just did whatever I could to let them know this is how it works and this is how you do it. But
Mm-hmm.
then they get tired too because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of work taking care of somebody that has that disease. It's a lot of work.
I know my dad had dementia, and we went through quite a few caregivers. Uh, Well, I want to ask you, did the insurance pay for her care or the majority of her care?
Okay.
Medicare, I think. Medicare.
Medicare, my mom had Medicare and her
Mm-hmm.
pension and a
Mm-hmm.
separate insurance that is hard to get right now. My mother and my dad were phenomenal about taking care of their health and their medical.
Mm-hmm.
See, people have investments and invest in homes and invest in this and do this, but my parents
Mm-hmm.
were not those types of parents. My
Mm-hmm.
parents invested in their health and because they had good jobs too in San Francisco.
Mhm.
But my
Mhm.
mother was able to get a separate insurance that paid for caregivers. It
Mhm.
also, she had Medicare that paid for quite a few things. What people don't
Mhm.
know, my mother was able to get on hospice. And when you get on hospice,
Mhm.
hospice with Medicare, they pay for everything. But people are afraid to put people on hospice because they think that's a death wish or a death trap. And that's not always
Mhm.
what it is, because I thought the same thing. I always prolonged my mother going on hospice. But
Mhm.
my mother outlived what Medicare was going to pay for hospice, because hospice is typically 6 months, but my mother was on hospice for a year,
Mhm. Oh.
getting all what she needed because of the
Mhm.
care that she got from us, from her family, from her daughter. And my husband, like I said, helped. And my sister, when she could, she came in and helped me too at
Mhm.
times when I had to go out of town. My daughter was in college then. However, the case may be, it's you just have to know how to work the programs that you have available for you. But my mother had A1 doctor, A1 care with the hospice when she had to go on. I finally gave in and said, okay, let's put her in hospice, because I said, I don't want my mother to suffer. So there were things, my mother had round the clock nurses coming in. Then we had our caregiver. Then she had me, she had my husband. So it is how my mother set up her medical and her insurances, because she did not want me and my sister to take care of her, because she was saying that she was going to go into a facility. But I
Mhm.
made sure I didn't put her into a facility, because I interviewed facility people too. So I
Mhm.
was all on it. So if you
Mhm.
can, it's best to keep them at home.
Mhm.
And I will tell you, and we had a social worker too, it's best to keep them at home, because I feel like they last longer when they're in their own environment than to go into a separate place. That's just
Mhm.
me. That's how I feel. And my mother and my father, especially my mom too, they just did a phenomenal job in taking care of the needs that they needed. Because another thing, I never looked at the fact that, oh, if something happens to my parents, I'm going to get all this money, or I'm going to get an inheritance. I never looked
Mhm.
at life like that. I looked at keeping my parents alive.
Mhm.
And that was very
Sure.
important to me, because even to this day, I miss my mother and my father so much. It's not enough money on this earth that I
Mhm.
can have from what my parents did for their life, even though,
Mhm.
it's generational. Yeah. But that
Mhm.
generational, that wasn't my money. So I made sure
Mhm.
to use my mother's money to the best of my ability to keep her on this earth as long as possible. I didn't care about me. It just
Mhm.
wasn't about me or my sister or what we're going to get in the interim of it. Now, I'm not saying that's how people think, but that was me, because I wanted my parents here. Maybe my parents sheltered us a lot to have them
Mhm.
here. And baby, I
Mhm.
didn't deal with, losing a family member like that. But I
Mhm.
always made sure I knew how my mother talked to me too. That was a difference. My
Mhm.
mother told me where all her personal paperwork is or was at that
Mhm.
time. She let me know. So if something was to happen to her, she got sick or whatever, this is where everything was.
Mhm.
That's how I knew how to do and maneuver too, because my mother talked to me. That was a relationship that I had with my mom.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. People need to hear this. They need to hear this because some of them don't know if it's covered. They need to do it all themselves. So this is very, very important information. Thank you, Karen. How was you able to balance your family and taking care of your mom at the same time?
That's an excellent question. I sacrificed. I couldn't go nowhere. I couldn't do extra things like I do now. I don't really go anywhere now anyway, because I don't want to pay them gas prices. I
I
don't want
know,
to
I
gas.
know.
So I'll
Boy,
just figure out something in the house. I'll binge on movies or whatever. I don't care. I'm
yeah.
not giving you this money for this gas. But at that time, maybe that's what put it in me right now. At that
Hmm.
time, I knew I couldn't go places, but it was a
Hmm.
sacrifice that I was willing to do, because again, I wanted to keep my mother here. I always thought
Hmm.
my mother was going to last till she got 100 years old, because she was so healthy. My mom was
Hmm.
healthy. So this disease that got to her, It wasn't
Mhm.
nothing because I feel that she did anything wrong. My mother was healthy. She's always telling me, girl, you got to get some of that weight off of you because of X, Y, and Z. You don't want to catch this, you don't want to catch that. So she was
Mhm.
always on me about my weight because I was a lot
Mhm.
heavier than I am now. However, the case may be, I just sacrificed what I had to do. And like I knew my sister, she lives in Vegas. She could come in when
Mhm.
I had to go and help my daughter in college because my daughter was went to a HBCU. So she went to PB in Houston, the Houston area. So I would go down and get her situated for her next semester in school. You know, my daughter Danielle,
Mhm.
get her ready for
Mhm.
school. My husband would still be there. My sister would fly in and she would help too. And then we
Mhm.
still had the caregiver coming because that was the money that was allotted to me. But I will give you guys some information. I'll give everyone in the audience information. I don't want to say guys. Basically, there's programs out there that you can get. The state has programs. The state of California has programs that you can get. You know, if you're the loved one, if they still have it, and you're the only one, if you can take care of your family, you can apply for certain grants. If I'm not mistaken,
Mhm.
with the state of
Mhm.
California of taking care of your parent, you can get paid for that with the state. People don't know that if
Mhm.
they haven't
Oh.
cut that out. See, that was back
Mhm.
then when my mom got sick. Um,
Mhm.
and then also, you know, I just was, I knew what the outcome was going to be with my mom. So I was
Mhm.
able to enjoy sitting there
Mhm.
watching movies with her, watching her favorite. Because my mom, one thing
Mhm.
she liked, my mom
Mhm.
liked Family Fruit Feud. I have a hard time saying that too. She liked that with Steve Harvey. So
Uh-huh.
that was really good helping her too. She would laugh and laugh and laugh behind
Uh-huh.
that show. And she also liked her soap opera, Young and the Restless.
Oh,
So
okay.
those were things I could sit there with her. So
Mhm.
I just cut back on my activities. I just made it work. I made it work.
Nice. Yeah. See, like you kept everything balanced, Kara.
I
Everybody
kept
can do
everything
that.
balanced. And my husband, that's not his mom. That was not his mom. That was his
Mhm.
mother-in-law. But I was
Mhm.
able to make, he was retired and that was keeping, he said, by my mother getting sick, it showed him more patience.
Hmm.
It
Okay.
helped him develop patience because he didn't
I
have
see.
patience. And with him seeing how my mother was, it was just patience.
What are the myths and the misconception of this disease?
I think the misconception of this disease is that people do not believe that this is what it is. People, people don't believe in the fact that that it doesn't do everything that I'm saying that it could do. I can tell you
Mhm.
all kinds of things that it can do to you because I seen it firsthand with
Mhm.
my mother and the difference with her sister. So
Mhm.
I saw it. So that's a misconception. It's a
Mhm.
misconception about the fact that you don't have to if you're going to be the caregiver that you don't have to be the main one helping with this. A misconception is you can just put them in a facility or a nursing home and that will take care of everything. Misconception is, oh no, this we don't have this type of money or we don't have this, we don't have that.
Mhm.
And so it's just old age type of thing. So we don't need anybody to help with that. It's just so many different ways that you can miss on what is going on,
Mhm.
and they this disease helps that, like my mom, hide it. They can hide it. They can hide it where you don't know what's going on with them for a long period of time. And
Mhm.
it's not fast moving, it's a slow drip. And if you don't do your research on it, and you can't believe what everybody tells you, you must do some research on your own. I did a lot of reading on it and research on it as well. No matter what her good doctor told me, I still went behind him and looked up things because it's almost like you can't some of the stuff with this disease, you cannot believe what it does, but it doesn't. And one thing that I asked one of her doctors, I said, how did my mother get this when it's not something that's like in our family line.
Hmm.
He said it's bad luck.
It's bad luck. That's all he could say.
That's all he could say. Bad luck. So you see what I'm saying? Misconception.
Hmm.
You don't know about it. He called it bad luck.
Were
Not
there
her
any?
main doctor, one of her other doctors.
Oh, I see. Were there any foods that they told you to feed her that'll make this disease better or worse?
They told me to give my mother what she liked.
Mm, okay.
Let me tell you one little story real quick. This disease is something because it also you have my mother. I don't can't talk for other people, but I just thought about this. My mother had a desire to eat a whole carton of ice cream,
Mm,
so she wouldn't even want any more food. She would go to
mm-hmm,
the freezer, take out a carton of ice cream because we had ice cream up there for her. She liked ice cream. Take out a
mm-hmm,
carton of ice cream, sit at the table, and just start eating out of it. And you
mm.
take it away from her, oh my God, she would have a fit. So I found out that she craved sugar,
Oh, okay.
sugar, when she never craved sugar before because she was afraid of being a diabetic.
Mm-hmm,
So she didn't eat a lot of sweets like that. But ice cream was a target for her. So if she would go in, she would go in and she would go in that freezer and take that ice cream out and just eat it. Just like that.
mm.
Just eat it.
So sugar was her craving,
Sugar was her
and
craving from having
hmm
this disease, not before.
oh, not before.
My mother didn't crave sugar like that. So she was afraid of being a diabetic, but she craved it while she was on this disease, while she had this disease.
So she ate anything she wanted,
Yes.
and anything. They
They
didn't give you
said
no
give her
restriction.
anything. Yeah, yeah. Because she liked chicken, loved oatmeal.
Mm-hmm,
Broccoli was her vegetable. She loved broccoli.
mm-hmm,
And just give her what she wanted. Don't
mm-hmm,
deny her. But what I did
mm-hmm.
deny her was this is where you got to use this. I denied her so much of like desserts. I
Oh, I
did.
see.
I did
Mm-hmm.
deny her that because see, she was already staying up at night and sleeping in the day. You know, sugar gives you a rush,
Yeah, the
and then you
energy.
cut, then you right, and then you crash.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
true.
you know what it is. She already up at night keeping me up, and I had to go to
Uh-huh.
work.
Oh my goodness.
So can you imagine her eating? And she would get up at night, and she didn't think I heard her. Go in that freezer and get that carton of ice cream out. So
Oh
then we
my
stopped buying
goodness.
ice cream. We kept ice cream downstairs in
Mm-hmm.
the freezer downstairs, where if she got up and started trying to go in there and eat ice cream late at night like that, it wouldn't be in that freezer in the refrigerator upstairs.
Oh, I see. Oh my goodness, Karen, you get your hands full. And
Yeah,
plus
I did.
working in a
Mm-hmm,
family, you've
mm-hmm.
done well. Your mom is very proud of you. You've done well.
Thank you.
And then you're giving information to other people. And this will help a lot of other people that are in the same situation and don't know what to do or where to go or don't have the information. Do you
I
mind
will.
giving your
Oh, I want to say
your
one more thing,
contact?
Mary. One more
Oh,
thing.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm
just
sorry.
no, 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 no worry, no worries. I will tell you that Kaiser Permanente, because I dealt with them with my aunt, they have a lot of good resources. Because not
Mhm,
everybody, and I'm not trying to blow up that hospital because I don't do Kaiser.
mhm,
I have private doctors now. My mom had private doctors. My dad had private doctors. My sister has private doctors. That's in our family, our immediate
mhm,
family. So I never had Kaiser. However, I know good people that work at Kaiser. Sometimes I go to them to ask questions if I needed it. One person, I
mhm,
mean, she was phenomenal with me on how to maneuver my mom and my aunt. However,
mhm,
the case may be, Kaiser has a lot of good resources. If you have Kaiser, they can get you a social worker. The social worker can guide you through what you need. I didn't really need a social worker at that time until my mom got on hospice because her doctor guided me in what I needed.
mhm.
So Kaiser is really good. And as far as if anyone wants to reference and get in contact with me, I don't know what people are going through now, because if you notice, Alzheimer's is not really being talked about right now because the Congress isn't passing bills
Mhm.
for caregivers to get paid a little bit more money. I don't know what is going on with those bills. I think our state of California has passed something for Alzheimer's. But as far as the country is concerned, I don't know if they passed a whole lot of these bills. But however the case
Mhm.
would be, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm just, and I can guide you. So if you want to ever contact me, you can always email me.
Okay, give them your email address.
Address is 110 KWCHILES@gmail.com if you want to reach out to me. And you can also call me at 209-403-0248. I don't mind you calling me on my phone.
Okay, and
You do
also
that as
she's
well.
also the creator of a support group. Karen, give them the name of your support group.
Oh, I have a page on Facebook. And see how I forgot? And that's my page. Hold on for just a second. I'm sorry. Oh Lord.
Yeah,
See how
children.
I forgot? Uh okay, I'll
Yeah, she
get
has a
that to you.
Facebook group, a support group.
Yes, I do. I have a support group on Facebook. And I have, it's a private group. I don't let everybody get on there because I want to make sure I'm helping people. So my Facebook page is children of parents with Alzheimer's, dementia. And the you can also reach me at COPWAD. That's COPWAD, and find me on Facebook. It's a private Facebook group. I have a certain amount of numbers on there and I don't accept everybody. So you can definitely get in because it's private. Because I want to make sure that I'm helping. I don't want anybody just dropping in there, just saying all kinds of stuff. Mary's always on that page, which is just wonderful, sharing everything that she knows about different things. But yeah, you can also reach me on Facebook.
That sounds fantastic. Give the audience the last words of encouragement.
Okay. Have faith. We have a God. Pray and make sure that uh you make sure that you know that there are people out there. I'm one of them, and there's other people out there. But I just want to let you know, I'm not giving you doom and gloom. It's something that happens, and prayer is good. Prayer works, and being positive, because when you're positive and you're dealing with this disease, the person that has it, they can feel positive too. They do have feelings. So, and just know that there's people out there that can help, and I am one of them. And I don't need money. I don't charge. I give you my life experience. I'm not about money. I'm just about helping people, because this disease will stay with me because I saw it with my mom and with my aunt. It will be with me to help anybody for the rest of my life until God says no more Karen, which he hasn't done yet. Thank you.
No, that's no, no. You have a long time yet, Karen. Long time, long time. Well, I want to thank you for that information and being with me today. So I'm getting ready to sign off. And I would like to thank
Okay.
the audience. I would like to thank the audience for spending time with me this morning. All right. So I'm going to sign off, but I am going to say be blessed, be healthy, and be safe. All right. Until next time, this is Mary with Karen Chiles on Straight Talk About Health and Wellness. Bye bye.